How
Welcome
are you?
to Let's Go Live with Gigi Meyer, and I have with me Christian suspense thriller author S.F. Baumgartner. Welcome, Sylvia.
Hi.
I'm so glad to
Thanks
have you.
for having me.
I'm sorry?
I said thanks for having me here.
I am so happy to finally meet you. We trade DMs, we're in groups together, so it is so nice to have a beautiful face and a voice and to meet you in person and not just virtual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a lot to cover tonight, and so I want to start off with, what is a Christian suspense thriller author mean? Because I know that suspense and thriller are, kind of almost separate genres, and then when you throw in Christian, it really gets like a little confusing.
Yeah, well, to me it's not really because
Perfect. You can
yeah.
explain it for us.
Well, if you know thrillers, you know what it is, and it's for Christian, there's just the Christian element there. Like, I don't do like blatantly Christian. Like, I don't. There's no preaching. There's no, it's not like it doesn't focus on any like pastor or anything like that. It's just there's the Christian theme,
Mm-hmm.
and some some of the characters are Christians, and there's the Christian values throughout. So it's not I I'm not trying to convert anybody or anything. So there's no preaching and no verse quoting or anything like that. So, but it's there's Christian themes, and it's clean fiction, and so that's really, but it is suspense and thrillers. So if you
Okay.
want to read thrillers, then that's what it is. Or you can think of it as a clean thriller.
Okay, so where the line is, because clean means a lot of things to a lot of people. And I'm just going to go through kind of like a little rundown, and you can let me know. Does it have profanity? Does it have sex? Does it have controversial themes? And does it have any kind of religious implications or denominations?
For profanity, no, I don't do that. And I don't do sex. And what was the other one? The controversial subject or something?
Controversial themes, yeah. So
I don't think so. At least not, not, not any focus of it. I mean, if characters are talking about it, maybe, but they probably just touch on any subject like that, but it wouldn't be any focus. And then, what was the last one? Something about
denominations.
oh,
Is there any kind of, is there any kind of religion, such as Buddhist, Muslim, Christianity, or is it only Christian, and then is it only denominations, or none of those are? Where's the line?
well, for the prequel, actually, I think mostly Catholic, but then I don't really stress that. It's just that the characters, there's a priest in there, but he's not a main character.
Yeah.
And for book 2, I'm trying to make it have just there's Christian characters mixed in with Catholic Christians. So it's really just Christianity.
Okay, that is fascinating. Jane said, that's wonderful. I read Greek mythology, even though I don't believe the religion. So reading Christian thriller can still be read by non-Christians. Oh gosh, I totally agree with you. What do you think, Sylvia?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's there's no. I don't like put down non-Christians. Like, I don't say anything like offending to other religions or other faiths. So I don't think it's not offensive to anybody. If you don't have any faith or anything, you can still read it. And like I said, it's not a blatant Christian fiction. It's not like I'm trying to, there's no verse, there's no preaching or anything. I mean, characters might be praying, but that's,
Yeah.
I don't think that's offensive, you know, so.
Oh gosh, and that's not exclusive to Christianity either, you know,
Yeah.
prayers.
So I don't see it as, you know, anybody with, you know, people with no faith or people of another faith tradition, you know, I'm sure if they enjoy throughs, I don't see why they can't read it.
Well, I think it's fascinating because, yeah, I agree. A story can have religion without trying to convert. It's the meaning of the story. And I agree with you, Jane, and also Sylvia, because all of our, you know, when we're trying to write, our characters can be anything. You know, you can have all, you know, any atheist, Muslim, Islam, that kind of thing. And so I think it's just really what the story withholds. I'm writing a book right now, and his parents are deeply Catholic, and there's a father who plays a pivotal role towards the end. And I don't think that's anything you have to shy away from. I don't think it'd be anything that people put down just because you're introducing any sort of religion within a book. It's the totality of the whole story.
Right. I agree. I mean, you know, that there are, I know that there are some books they're trying to actually push certain things, you know, or maybe they have an agenda or something, but that's not what I'm doing.
That's not you.
No.
No, I know. And it's so divisive nowadays. I feel like, you know, for every right, there's a left. And, you know, I don't get into politics. I don't get into all that. But I feel like, you know, we can respect everyone's belief, you know, and I am not like you, one to convert. I do find it fascinating. My father studied religion deeply, geography related to religion as well, you know, like the spread of Christianity and then the spread of Buddhism. And so through that, I find religious studies absolutely fascinating and spirituality. But I do recognize that some people can be, you know, kind of triggered if their beliefs don't match yours.
That's true.
Yeah.
I know, you know, and, you know, my daughter was saying that, well, I guess we were talking about, or I don't know what we were talking about. I think my husband mentioned something about there is a Christian element. We were talking to some friends or something, and then, you know, this daughter, she said, well, I suppose, you know, maybe some people, if they're anti-Christians or something, they might not like it or something. I said, well, I mean, okay, you know, but it's not like this is, I'm not trying to convert anything. There's really very little things in there. It's just Christian characters.
Yeah.
There may be prayers and Christian themes. And I think these things are all universal. You know, it doesn't have to be Christians. You can be Muslim or whatever. You can still pray.
Yes.
And, you know, for instance, redemption.
Ooh.
I think all religions, any kind of faith, you know, that's their theme too. It doesn't have to be Christian.
Redemption is a huge theme just in humanity. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like right now we're so divisive in the world, but to me, it's just like at the end of the day, no one knows for real what happens when we die. And I feel like everyone is looking for similar things. We are looking for redemption. We are looking for love, acceptance, you know. So that to me brings us together as humanity.
Yeah. So I don't see any reason why, you know, like I said, I never have any character put down anybody, like, or say any offensive things about, you know, offend other religions or other faiths or anything. So, in fact, if you think about it, I think, especially with the book one,
Yes.
the one that's coming out, there are a lot of, you know, the books that, at least that I've read all these years, you know, they are mostly white Americans. Very few. There may be some, you know, some of the minority characters in there, here and there, but not, you know, majority is just not, you know,
not represented.
Yeah. But then my characters, a lot of them are, you know, underrepresented, like Asian Americans, And book 2 is a Muslim American. So
Okay.
this, you know, I think it's different.
I think that's wonderful though, because you're right. I mean, people tend to, we wrote for so long. I was talking to another author, and she says, I love to write people of color. And she said they're really an underserved market. And I thought, wow, I didn't know. And I feel like that's true when it comes to authors. I feel like there's more, like you said, white authors. And I don't know why that is exactly. But we had a really in-depth conversation about representing people of color and having multicultural or multicultural relationships or couples, because that's so reflective of the world.
Exactly. And that, in fact, that's how it is in my book. The a lot of them are biracial
Mm-hmm.
couples,
Yeah.
and then and given the fact that I'm Asian Americans, so I can write, the fact that I've read a lot of, not a lot, but some of the books when I read that if they portray any Asian Americans, I think they're wrong.
Ooh,
That, yeah,
stereotype.
at least they're not what I am.
Yeah.
So I don't feel, or sometimes they try to make it like my kids, my husband is white, so our kids are rich, Asian Americans, but they are half and half. And I know for a fact that that's not how they feel. But then when I read something that said that, oh, well, they will characterize that these characters with, an Asian parent and also an American white American parent, then um, they would feel different or whatever. They would feel like they're Asian, they're not white or something. They're not American or whatever. And the truth is, all my kids, a lot of them, nobody even could tell that they're anything but Americans. And our son, he said a lot of people thought that he was Pacific Islander
Oh,
or from Mexico. A lot of them, and my one daughter, she said a lot of people thought that she was Mexican, or just because the way she looks, and
interesting.
in fact, she works in this restaurant, and a lot of I guess Mexican would go to that restaurant, and then sometimes some lady would come up to her and started saying something
In Spanish.
in Spanish, and then she knows a little bit, but that's it, and then she'd say, "Sorry, I don't speak Spanish," and then
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no, it's like how can you not speak Spanish? It's just so weird.
Well, I have a fair amount of friends that are, because I am in Houston, right? And so we are very close to the border. Houston has got to be like one of the most diverse cities, right? We have the Port of Houston, we have international trade. And so growing up, it was just all reasons, all kinds, all ethnicities, all faiths, just always here. But I do have several friends that are first generation American. And they said it's not so much necessarily like, Americans treating them differently. Some of them have said it's the cultural divide between what their parents came from and their values to what the American people value as important. And so one of my friends he is Palestinian, and his parents are from Ramallah. And he said, I could go out with my guy cousins that were Arab. He said, we could go out all night long, get into all sorts of trouble, and my parents wouldn't think twice. I could go to Burger King at 10 o'clock at night with my American friends, and my parents worried. So he said it's more cultural natural between the two countries.
Yeah.
From his parents, from his family.
I guess so, yeah.
So do your kids kind of encounter that, do you think?
I don't think so. You know, they're 100% Americans. They're just, you know.
Yeah.
My brother, you always said that, how come they don't speak any Chinese? You know, because I don't, you know, I don't even say. In fact, he would tell me, he said, you know, at my son's wedding, he was talking to a friend of ours, and he would say, you know, she grew up speaking Cantonese, and now she's struggling with Cantonese. Can you believe it?
If you don't use it, you lose it.
I know, you know, that's just the way it is. I said, you know, and then she'd say, he would say, Angela, my other sister,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in California. Well, Anson, her son, Anson speaks perfect Cantonese or something. I said, well, that's because she lives in California and she married a Hong Kong Chinese. You know, so
Yeah. So they speak in the household.
Yeah, and also because in California, you know, where she lives, there are a lot of
population.
Yeah,
Big community.
So,
that's nice.
Yes. So I mean, you know, where we are here in Ohio, you can hardly find anybody. So.
I would
Well,
think there's not a huge population in Ohio.
no, I mean, there's some, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, what can I say? I mean, I try when I think when our son was, when he was, because the first, he's our oldest, and so when he was little, I did try to teach him some, but it failed miserably, just because I don't speak enough of it, you know, with my husband, we always, you know, speaking English, and so it's just hard. And he goes out, he goes to school, then, you know, it's just lost it, because, you know, in school he makes friends, you know, with all the other kids, you know, you speak what they speak.
Oh my God.
You don't speak.
To keep it up.
Yeah.
Like if you literally, because I know that my parents were first generation from, so my parents were born here, but their parents were born in Germany. And so at the time, like when you came over, the immigration patterns were like, you do not speak your mother tongue, right? You only speak English. And so my parents did not learn German, even though they could kind of understand it from their parents. But by the time it got to us, I mean, there's nothing left.
Yeah. Well, my husband, it's the parents, I think it depends on which side. I think the grandfather, fathers on the father's side, his grandfather and grandmother, they came from Germany.
Yeah.
And so his father spoke a little bit of German, not a lot. And but my husband, he didn't, you know, now he does, just because he's interested in it.
Yeah.
So he learned the language. So now he does speak it, but he didn't grow up speaking the language.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is. I mean, you know, you're in America, you speak American, English.
Okay, are you learning it with him?
German?
Yeah.
No.
It's a hard language. It's so hard.
No, I don't. You know, I took French in high school and college.
I did too.
Yeah, I actually majored in French, but that was years and years ago. I don't speak it anymore. So, if anything, I would rather stick with, you know, the Romance languages, French, Spanish, and Italian, Portuguese. Those are really easy to learn for me.
Would you use any of them in your books?
No, I didn't use, well, maybe a few words of Spanish and a couple Cantonese words. Yeah, just the pronunciation, just, you know, just the way it is. Oh, somebody said something about, oh yeah, Linda, hey. Conversational Mandarin, yeah. Yeah, she was saying, because she sent me something there, the Chinese New Year. You know, she sent me a clip, you know, with saying some Mandarin Chinese greetings for Chinese New Year.
Oh,
And I showed it to my husband. I said, do you understand? Well, interestingly, my husband actually studied Chinese, Mandarin Chinese in college.
whoa.
Yeah, he spent a year in Taiwan.
Wow.
So,
Cool.
so he, you know, uh, he said, I showed it to him and they said, oh yeah, she said something, happy Chinese New Year or something, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, because you were saying that your characters, there's some multicultural characters in there, and so I thought, well, maybe you are inserting some Cantonese or some foreign language in some of your books. Because that may be natural for your characters.
Yeah, because this one, the book one,
Yeah,
the main well, one of the main, I should say,
Buried
there are a couple
Secrets,
main
right?
characters.
Buried Secrets is book one.
No, Buried Secrets, it's the prequel. Living
Oh,
Secrets is,
Okay,
yeah,
so for those that are on here, Buried Secrets is that psychological thriller novella.
yeah,
And
it's,
then Living Secrets is in book one in the Mirror State series.
yes. And the one character in Living Secrets, she is uh, like my kids, you know, with a white parent and then a Hong Kong Chinese mom.
Okay.
Although she didn't know it at the time, you know. But anyway, she, you know, she's mixed, and so I feel that I can contribute something genuine, authentic to the
Mm-hmm.
characters just because I'm living it. I have my kids here. I can, you know, my kids can tell me. I just know what it's like, you know, and also because I know Hong Kong very well, so you know, I just, I guess I give some. I can have the, you know, authentic voice in there rather than, you know, somebody like you trying to write, you know, the
Oh,
Chinese.
oh goodness, I'm going to stay in my lane. But I do find that fascinating, Sylvia, because don't you feel that's kind of an untapped market because of your experience, because of your background and your knowledge? Don't you feel that you could just continue writing a whole series in that part of the world for your target audience here?
Yeah, well, I think so. I'm not trying to write everything, you know, from Hong Kong. It's based here in the States, but uh, the characters will live on. You know, I will continue to bring um, Asian Americans and other. Like I said, there's some uh, what's what's politically correct way to call the Arab, is it Arab American, Middle East, from Middle East? What do you call them now?
Okay, so he just call me an Arab. And I
Okay.
said, I said, I was raised where you don't call people Arab. And he says, yeah, that's what we are. And, oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, you just don't know what to
Okay,
call them anymore because
but
they're,
I should say that was a long time ago. And so sometimes it's hard to stay politically correct because things change so fast. I'm like, okay, what are we doing now? You know what I
I know.
mean?
Yes, I'm
Cancel.
sometimes I'm afraid to say what I'm, you know, what I'm, you know, what characters that is because I don't want to say something that's wrong.
I know. I totally get it.
I mean, you know, technically, okay, you know, this guy's from Middle East,
Yeah,
maybe Iran or Iraq or something. So what do you call them nowadays? What is the politically correct
I
way
know.
to call
Yeah.
them? I don't, I don't know. So
So diving into your suspense thriller, tell us about your psychological novella. Is it out
Okay.
now?
Yes.
And then Living Secrets comes out in December?
No. September. End of
Oh,
September.
September. Okay.
Yes. Well, it's the novella, the prequel is really just to give you a taste of the characters, introduce you to um, the I guess the estate,
Mm-hmm.
and it starts out with this young man. Oh, and that's another thing. My characters, a lot of them are in the age group that's really young adults in their 20s. And of course, there are some older folks there, but there aren't that many books that are in that categories. It's either young adults, like the teens or something, or the 30s, 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, this young guy, um, found out, well, he didn't find out, a lawyer came to find him. So anyway, he discovered that his mother's side of the family, they're still living and wealthy. That he thought they were all dead until the last, uh, until the last moment of his mom's life. That he need, so anyway, he discovered that and went to meet his grandmother, and that's when the whole thing started. Because he didn't, he felt watched, and the creepiness, like someone is watching you, and he was trying to find out what secrets that because his mother left him a key, and then there's a message for him. So he's trying to find out. His goal is really to find out what does that key do and all that, and to learn about his mother. Because he didn't know that part of it, that the he only knew his mom as a poor waitress, and that's it, and growing up. But then here comes this grandmother in a estate, so yeah, so he was curious, and then of course there comes danger, just because it's a thriller. Well, I mean, it's a suspense thriller. So then anyway, at the end, he found out about the secrets. He discovered the secrets, and uh, barely escaped with his life. And then he found out about, well, I shouldn't say.
Yeah, no, no spoilers.
Yeah. So anyway, you got to read it if you want to find out.
Okay, so I have a bunch of questions. So first, you're writing from a male point of view.
Yes, for the prequel, yes.
Okay, so how does that feel? Is that challenging? Is it easy for you? Some people can't write from the opposite gender or sex. They find it challenging to get in their character's head.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not. I guess if I were to write romance, then maybe, because then it's harder to think, in that kind of situation, how the opposite sex would feel or whatever. But since I'm writing thriller and suspense and mystery, that kind of stuff, so I think it's kind of universal, men and women. You feel the same way. If you're scared, you're scared. You think someone is watching you, it's, you feel the same. At least I think so. I mean, I suppose men would tend to be, or try to be braver, put on a, uh, brave face at least. Don't try to, at least I think. But I didn't really feel that difficult. At least I don't think so.
And so you had hesitated because when I said you write from a male point of view, and you said, well, the novella. So what is the Living Secrets, book one?
It would be mostly from, it's from multiple points of view,
Mm-hmm.
but there's two from Lily and also Olivia. So I guess probably a lot of them from, female point of view. And then, there's some from the male point of view. So, yeah.
So does each chapter then become someone else's POV, alternating, or do you go a few chapters of, just because the storyline needs to be told by that person?
I have the POV listed up top. Sometimes it's either alternating or sometimes it's the same. It just depends on
The plot.
Yeah, the plot.
Yeah. Okay, so where did this idea of the story come from? Give us some background.
The prequel or the series, the whole thing, or
The whole thing.
it's really just from my head, I guess. Now, because I think I would say it's I've I read a lot over the years, and all these stories, I read across genre.
Oh.
It's either I used to read romance, and then I read thrillers, mysteries, and I just read a broad range of things, and then I also like to watch crime TV shows.
Yeah.
All of them. So I guess, yeah, so all these things, I guess, somehow just got into my head, and I kind of just like play dominoes with them and kind of play games with them and kind of say, what if I don't like this? I don't like this ending. Well, when I'm watching something, it's like, well, no, how about if I do this? What about if that, if he does that instead of that, then somehow it kind of just made that idea.
You're rewriting the crime scene shows in your head.
Yeah, sort of. And I kind of mixed them all.
I love
like, from maybe something from a book that I read, stuck in my head. And then when I'm watching, I don't know, The Blacklist or NCIS or whatever, and then all of a sudden, okay, maybe this character, I can put it in this, I can do this. I can put this character in here. And, somehow it just happens.
But that's fascinating. So I just feel like that's what really hones your creativity.
Yeah, I guess so.
And you take inspiration then from almost any source.
Yeah, because it's very easy. It's really very easy all you have to do is to think a little differently. Like, okay, so this character, they react this way, or at least on TV show, they show them react this way, but then you can have the character react differently. Then the whole thing is going to change. Because it's a fight, and that's just, or like I could take one little thing from maybe an episode, and then I mix in with, like I said, I read something and then it kind of stuck in my head, and I just, okay, well, I can do this here and put this in here, put this character in here, and something like that.
So on this series, is it going to be 3 books, like a trilogy?
At this time, I think it's going to be ongoing. I don't know. I don't really have an end point yet. So I'm thinking, at least I know I have book 3 and likely book 4, at least.
In your mind?
Yes.
Okay. So how long did it take you to write the novella? And how long did it take you to write book one?
The novella, it's interesting because I actually wrote it back in 2019.
Really?
Yes, I don't remember how long it took me, maybe a couple months, 'cause it's really short. But it was, I should say, like a first trial kind of thing. It's like I only put in maybe 75%. I didn't really, I was learning, and then I actually published it, but then I pulled it because it was not exactly professional.
Okay.
So then, um, so then, and then I had planned on book one. Then I had started the outline, but then 2020 hit, and I was, you know, I know a lot of people during that time. Okay, well, nothing else to do. You're stuck at home, so they start writing. But then I was just the opposite. I just kind of, I didn't feel like doing that. So I kind of, I don't know, I didn't do anything for a while. And then it was last year that I decided that, well, I should probably do it this time. I'm going to do it right. I don't want to, do and have as effort again. So then I had it re-edited, I expanded it, and because actually after uh, I published it, I was still thinking about it. I thought, it needed more work. So I, added a lot more scenes, expanded it, and had it re-edited and a new cover and published under a different name, my own name this time, instead of, and just, did it really professionally this time. And so all in all, I can't tell you how long it took, but then now for Living Secrets, I think the draft took maybe 3, 4 months, I think.
And how many words is that draft roughly then?
The book one was, I think now it's about, I was aiming at 75K, but I think with the deleted scenes and stuff, it's hitting about 80K. So,
In
yeah.
three.
Yeah, 3 or 4 months, I think.
Did that book just pour out of you?
I don't know. I had a goal. I remember, if you recall my updates, every now and then I would say, I had up to so many words or something.
Yep.
So I had to try to hit the daily goal of how many words, and I think it worked. Now book two is the same thing. I had it. In fact, I'm like down to about. I should finish with. I have about 5K words left. If it can, if the story can wrap it in 75K words, then I should have about 5K left right now. So
That's exciting. Okay, so if book two, well, book one comes out in September. And book two, then, when are you targeting your release?
January.
Oh, that's far away.
Yeah, January 8th, I think it was. I don't know. So, yeah, it's not, I'm hoping to get the draft done, like I said, in the next few days, and then self-edit it, get it, right, at least for me. And then I already booked the beta readers for the end of this month. So I don't know, hopefully, from then it will go on to, you know how it goes, the editors and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have a street team? Do you have a beta team different from your street team?
Yeah, they're different. I'm using, actually, yeah, I think Tia she has a street team for me. And I just recently hired an assistant. I finally found out that I needed an assistant to help because I have so many. I sign up for so many different things that I can't even, I can't do it all. So I needed an assistant to help me.
That's fascinating. You're the first author I've talked to that has an assistant.
Well, I really needed that. I mean, I couldn't, I had somebody to see because my website, I don't know if I'm doing too much, because I have a Shopify website and I'm selling books there, my books.
Yeah, your website is gorgeous.
Thanks. And then I also have the merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
And the merchandise is, I think I just uploaded it like a couple weeks ago, so it's kind of new. But I'm trying to get that going. So that's kind of like, instead of, in addition to the book, to writing and marketing the book or something, now I have this other thing, the merchandise. So it's like I have two things going on. It's so I need, I figured that, I need help. I can't figure, I can't do it all.
Oh yeah, there's it's hard as an indie author to do it all, the social media and the marketing and the press and then writing the book and lining up your team. It is a lot of work. And so I think VAs are valuable to just take off some of the administrative tasks so that way your creative juices can continue to flow. That's what people pay you for, right? They want your creative brain.
Yeah, if I spend, because I find that I can spend hours and hours just to take care of business.
Oh yeah.
And not writing. And
yeah, because you're an authorpreneur. It is you.
yeah.
For those that are looking for a VA, where did you find yours?
Oh, I found this group on Facebook. I think it's called, I forgot what it's called, something called PA, Authors and PA. I don't know, I forgot what it's called, but it's like a matchmaking thing. You join the group and then you tell them what you're looking for, what you need help or something, and then the ones who are looking will message you and said, I'm interested or whatever, and they'll, so I got lucky. I just found somebody, and at least for now, it's hoping it'll work out, and who knows if maybe at some point I might be able to take care of myself. I don't know.
Well, it's good that you have a nice fit right from the start, right? When you have your team assembled.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, because Tia helped me a lot. She got the team, the street team, and she made these trailers, really fantastic trailers for me.
To interrupt, who is Tia?
She's got the order of the book, order of
the book.
Order.
Okay. We're going to do a shout out. So Tia is with Order of the Bookish. And then what does she do?
Oh, I think she does a lot of things. She did, at least for me, she made all these trailers and social. She's going to do, I think, logos, although I have one. But then the street teams, the review teams, and that kind of stuff. And every week, the last few weeks, the street teams have been posting the trailers and the cover reviews and stuff. I don't know if you recall, I think I have it on our group thing.
Ma'am, I thought you were putting those out because
no, I'm not that good. I can't make that stuff.
She says, my team and I do anything that an author needs.
Yeah.
Okay, because Sylvia, I have to say, those trailers that you have posted, yeah, everybody loves your videos. Those that you have posted about buried secrets, is that what we're talking about? They're phenomenal.
Yeah, and then there's also the living secrets.
saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Order of the Bookish helped you
Yes.
create those, and then also helped you assemble a street team to get the word out.
Yes.
That's great information, because as authors, we are all struggling to just, get your visibility, get your book in front of the right target audience. That's a huge struggle.
Yeah. And I guess I'm lucky.
Very lucky. Okay, so getting into the writing side of it, what is your favorite part about being an author, and what is your hardest part, least favorite?
I guess the publishing part is the hardest for me. All that writing. I guess once I have the outline, or at least an idea of, because I do write from an outline, but I'm not like a stickler. Like, I just know from point A to point B, but in the middle I could like meander, do something different.
Or your characters sometimes go rogue.
That's right. That too.
You're like, where are we going?
Yeah.
This wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah.
And sometimes those rogue characters actually turn out better than your plot or your outline.
That's true. And sometimes you just gotta add another character that for some reason you just gotta make it work. So and I don't have trouble plotting. At least I don't think so. And then the writing part, now I find it easier to tackle the writing part, at least if I'm in the, when I was a few years ago when I started writing, it was just me, really just me writing.
Mm-hmm.
But now with all these new, I'm not saying I'm, not cheating or anything, but I believe the AI helped a lot, at least for me. Like if, because I can ask them something so they can, the AI would answer the question, and then that would kind of help me break through certain things. Like if I'm stuck trying to get a good description or something, and then I can go and ask, I'd like to say this, and I want to describe something, or whatever. What should I do? Then it's going to give you, as long as I'm detailed in, it's going to spit out a really nice, helpful, paragraph for you to look at. And I think, I don't know, I think that's very helpful. I mean, I'm not like copying that, but at least that gives me an idea to write from. So.
Well, okay. So I am fascinated by AI. I know that people have strong opinions both ways. But what I think is interesting about AI is we are all using it, right, for edits.
Yeah.
We use it for Grammarly. We use it for ProWrite Aid. So it's getting to the point where those now have, I think Grammarly has like a beta in there. Like, my books are too lengthy, and so I have to like cut and paste sections into the web version, even though I have the plugin. You know how it does that, and I'm like, oh, and so I never usually do it. But we're using AI to edit our books. Let's be honest, because there's definitely the creative side of being an author and a writer, and then there's your technical side with being an editor. And I don't know too many writers that are great at both. I know, like, I can't tell you sometimes where commas go or a compound or, and it just, whoo. So, one of my editors is like, you are very comma happy. And I was like, well, I'm like, wherever there's a natural pause, there should be a comma. And she's like, you're 1,000% wrong.
Oh. Well,
but I do rely on AI editors because I I can't tell you where a comma goes. I tried to. Apparently, I'm wrong. But what AI do you use? What is one of your AI tools? Are you using, like, I think there's what, Chat GPT, there's pseudo.
ChatGPT.
Okay. Because there's pseudo writes. I think there's like 5 different ones. I don't know them all though.
Yeah. Well, actually, let me interrupt
That's
you.
what I'm talking about, Tia. Is she says you can integrate Grammarly on your desktop so it automatically gives suggestions on your writing as you're writing in Word or Google Docs. Okay, so I hear what you're saying, Tia, but when you get to be like 150,000 words in a romance novel, which is way too many, Grammarly's like, abort, 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 you know, and so it'll give you suggestions because it's like, you have too many characters and you need to upload to our website instead. So I am like you.
Yeah. I don't know.
You were saying,
Actually, she asked earlier what my favorite characters. I think that was her question earlier. Anyway, that's I don't know if you want me to answer that because that's what she asked.
of
I think.
course, go right ahead. I'm gonna have to DM you, Tia, because I can't get it to edit.
It's how I edit post this. Oh, wow. Oh, I don't know. I like all my characters. Can I say that?
I know.
But
It's like trying to pick your favorite baby.
yeah, I know. I like all my characters.
Pick your favorite child.
But yeah, every one of them, I can think of something I like. I'm not, I can't tell you that, oh, I don't like this one. So I don't know. I'm sorry, dear. I like all of them.
What are the hardest scenes for you to write, though? Because I do feel like some authors, some scenes we're always great at. You're like, I got this. And then other ones we struggle with.
Yeah, I guess there are certain scenes that, like, I don't have any experience. Well, of course, a lot of those I don't, but I can kind of put myself
So
in that.
your life isn't a suspense thriller. What?
Yeah, and so some of the things, like especially not the violence, but the
Like action scenes?
yeah.
Yeah.
That I can only visualize it from the TV.
Yep.
And maybe research on the internet.
Yep.
So I can't, those are the things that I really need some help, the research, how to write fight scenes, or how to write, what type of gun, can cause this kind of injuries or whatever, if I want it, something like that, and but
police confiscate your computer, they'd be like, this lady is planning a murder. It's okay, I'm an author, it's okay.
Right. I saw that, was it a mug or something? Somebody said that it was some kind of saying something about ignore my search history or something, because I'm
For real.
I'm an author.
Yeah,
I think that's funny.
Now, I've been like you. I did write my very first debut novel was a cartel, kidnap, military romance. And so I had a review and she said, this is not realistic. I said, girl, I hope it's not. I hope it's not. But at the time, I did have a SWAT agent as one of my children's class. His dad was like a SWAT agent. And so we're in, dropping off our kids, about to go, from Carline. And I'm like, hey, I got to ask you a question. How would I be murdered and how would they dispose of the body? And he was like, hey, what's happening here? Do I need to be concerned? I'm like, no, I'm writing a book.
Yeah, I know some police officers, but I don't think I've asked them anything yet.
Well, there's a Facebook group. I'm trying, and again, I'm in so many Facebook groups, probably like you are, but there's one that is exactly for like crime scene, like bullet wounds, and I can't think.
Trauma fiction. I'm in one that's trauma. I think it's called trauma fiction or something like that.
No, it's a really cutesy play on words name, but it basically is like, let's say like bullets and something, you know, but it gives you like, there's so many nurses and like emergency personnel in there that they can give you like the actual reality of how things happen or how the body reacts when you do this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh, this is kind of handy.
Yeah, well, I'm in one of those groups. I don't know if it's the same one, but yeah, I asked him. I actually asked him once about. I need the kind of injury, a gunshot. You know, like this. I want the character uh, to be able to walk with difficulty. But you know, what kind of gunshot wound that he needs to have.
Yeah.
So they, you know, told me, oh, well, you can have this and this and that. And okay, that's good.
So helpful because I was thinking that, you know, my character is going to have broken ribs. But when you apparently have broken ribs, like fractured ribs, like they take a long time to heal because it's not as though, you know, you put a cast on them, right?
Right.
And so I had to downgrade that because, like you were saying, like, well, no, he still needs to be able to run. They're like, you're not running with broken ribs. I'm like, okay, note to self.
Yeah, there's
I feel like
certain
I
things.
call for that.
Yeah. So, and actually, I had you know, I had to ask Linda something about the. I said,
Yeah.
yeah. I asked her.
You're talking about
Linda,
lending,
Linda
right?
Lane. Yeah,
Exactly.
I said, well, this is a professional question for you. So I asked her, you know, how would, you know, this is about book 2, the character there. I said, is this totally unrealistic or is this possible? And then, you know, she told me, she gave me some good answers, good suggestions, and okay, good. I will make sure to acknowledge you.
Well, it's so great, right? The book community on Instagram is really pretty phenomenal. One of my books that I wrote, he is half Japanese and then half American, and in Tomlin and Takahashi, and so he is a world and Olympic judo champion. And I had a reader who read the first book, and she says loved him. When is he going to have his judo scenes? I'm like, oh my gosh. In the next book, can I send them? She had been doing judo for 13 years. I said, can I send them to you? And you just let me know if I got it right. Because when I tell you I watched a YouTube video after, I mean, I had a master's degree in YouTube videos on judo matches. Just trying to make sure I write it correctly.
Yeah. Sometimes that, you know, nowadays it's so much easier because you can go online and research. You know, imagine what, 20, 30 years ago, you know, then you really have to go ask somebody or go to,
You're
you
right.
know, some judo class or something.
Yeah, because Sylvia, readers really want an authentic experience. And I think as an author, it's really challenging because we want to give them that, but sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. And you can do the research online, but sometimes you still don't get it right.
Yeah. And well, then also on the other hand, I believe that, you know, when you read, well, at least I think for thrillers or suspense or mysteries, when you know, read, unless you are a law enforcement officer or whatever, if you're not one of them, if you're just an ordinary person reading, you know, for enjoyment, a lot of times, you know, as far as police procedural, or because I'm not writing that. I'm not writing police procedural, just thrillers. I don't think readers are going to go and verify with the FBI if this is exactly what they're going to do in this situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they would just, they would just take for granted what you said, that's how, I think as long as you're not being ridiculous, I think, then, because that's how I read, I'm not going to go find out if the FBI is actually going to do this, or is this the real procedure or protocol? Is that how they do it or something? I don't care as long as it's, there's a thrill, as long as there's it's reasonable. I mean, that's how I think. What do you think?
I do agree with you. Some things when we read, because like you, I read cross genres and I don't necessarily fact check, but it does bother me when I get something wrong. And so in this book that I'm writing, that's due literally on Sunday to my editor, it's law enforcement. It's a, cop romance. And luckily, my editor is married to a cop. And so when I sent her, I sent her the first, probably like 20,000 words. And she's like, nope, that's not how it goes. I'm like, excellent, correct me. But she's also my alpha reader. And that's what I was going to ask you. When you send it out to beta, are you actually wanting their feedback? Are they helping you cut scenes, or this doesn't work, or that seems like a hole? How engaged do you want your betas to be? Because that feedback can be a lot. If you have a lot of betas, you get a lot of feedback.
Yeah. For book one, I have 4. Mm-hmm. 2 of them thrillers readers.
Yeah.
1 cross genre. Another one's just general reader. And they gave me really good feedback. And I kind of polished the scene. They caught a lot of inconsistencies. Yep. And so, yeah, they helped me a lot. The one thing I didn't really, my editor, my original, I should say, I guess not former editor, she was trying to make my thriller turn it into a procedural. At least that's what I think. Because she would, her comments were mostly on the FBI protocols, the procedures, and this is not, this is not right, this is not right, everything's, so, and so I asked, after that, I actually asked several editors. I said, I asked them if, what kind of artistic license we allowed. I mean, are we supposed to write, really stick to, the real rules and something? And a lot of them said, you have 100% artistic license as long as it's believable. You can't have, because this one editor, I don't think she's, well, anyway, she's like a cop, but she writes on the side or something like that. And so she said, well, yeah, if you really, for realistic, it will be really, really boring, because most cops are just going to be patrolling the streets or working on a computer, sitting at the desk doing paperwork, so it's going to be really boring work if you want realistic. Mm-hmm. And she said that, as long as it's believable. Like, for instance, you can't have, your detective or whoever go out and commandeer what did she say? An armored truck or whatever, a tank, like a tank or something.
Yeah, commandeer.
To do a tank to do something. So that would be on, on just any kind of street, like in LA or something, and there's no tag, but so that kind of stuff, it's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just make, like in my case, at the end, I had the United States attorney, an assistant U.S. attorney, show up on Thanksgiving Day to deliver a message to somebody. And I had actually checked to see if, that, with national, like if there was a national emergency, would that happen? And, so on rare occasion, yes, they could do that. And I asked them, they said, yeah, they probably don't like it, but if it's a national emergency with some kind of that kind of situation, yeah, they'll have to do it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why, so when I turned it over to the final editor and I told her everything, I said, well, here's my beta set, and they all liked the storyline, they gave me all these inconsistent or whatever, and I fixed all of them. And, but then here's the other editor said, she thought that the whole thing was unbelievable or something. And then, so then she did her thing, and then she told me that, well, I think they're just thinking of different things because your readers, she ended up siding with the readers, thinking that the storyline was good, and it's, there's nothing unbelievable. It's just that maybe the other editors had in mind to make it more of a procedural. So wanted to stick more to the protocols and to be more real. And I said, well, I wanted it to be a thriller, not not a procedure, not like, so I guess, hopefully readers will agree.
Well, and that's a good point, right? Because we do get feedback, from not only the team that we do hire, but also, of course, alpha or beta readers. And then it is up to us to determine which pieces that we want to listen to, in which we're like, no, I appreciate it, but we're not in agreement.
So I ended up, not taking a lot of what the first editor said. I didn't change a lot. And then my final editor, she did what she did. And so now it's in the, getting to the proofreader and formatter.
Yeah. And almost to publishing.
Yep.
Well, I have a few more questions, if you don't mind staying on. Do you like rapid fire questions?
I'll try. Sure.
They're very easy. Okay, rapid fire. Do you like paperback or e-reader?
E-readers.
Plotting or pantsing?
Plotting.
First person or third person? What do you write in?
Third person.
Plot driven or are you character driven?
Probably plot driven.
Yeah. Do you like writing alone or writing with a partner or writing sprints?
Writing alone.
Do you write with music or in silence?
Silence.
Really? Okay, because I would think like you would write with music to set the tone on like you're racing or you're fighting or, the tension, high tension scenes.
No, I like to write in silence.
Oh, so disciplined. Good for you. Okay, so, outline or discovery writer? I think you said kind of a loose outline.
Yeah. I like Save the Cat, so I kind of use that. But then I found out that some of the things don't really fit the thriller genre too well. So, but that's a good base point for me.
Okay, I think, I love beat sheets, right? I love Save the Cat. There's Romancing the Book. Oh gosh, there's another one I can't think of. But it's so hard because when you're trying to tell a story and they're like, oh, well, this should happen at chapter 20, and your story that didn't happen at chapter 20, and you're like, I don't know what to do. Do I cut this? Do I move it? Sometimes those stress me out.
Yeah, it's well, for at least for thrillers, I think sometimes it doesn't fit too well in the exact whatever they call it, the beats thing. It's just not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Because I know every genre has a beat sheet where this should happen by that, and but it's I don't know. I love the idea of a beat sheet. I've read all those books. Shoot, I have them. They sit every day on my nightstand, and you'd think I would like follow them, but it's so hard.
Yeah, the first book for Prequel, I did that. It wasn't that bad because I didn't go off. I mean, I didn't have two things happening at the same time. It was mainly just the one
plot
thing. Yeah, one plot. And it's a short book. But when I did the first book, I found it really difficult to stick to that because I had at least two plots going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if you would call it a plot, but at least two things, two goals, going on. Then it's hard for me to stick to that, And I didn't want to have to, spend the time to do one beat sheet like for this storyline and then another one for the other storyline and then kind of mix them together. That's too much.
Oh, no. I'm fascinated by these blueprints, but heck if I can follow them. And so when I talk to readers and they're like, oh yeah, I stick to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, how? Can I come and just watch?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't do that, because I need to give the twists and turns, and I don't know how that would fit into any particular beat.
Yeah. Yep. So. I agree. Well, then, Sylvia, I'm not coming to your house and watching you work. Okay, a couple more. Series or standalones?
Series.
And then historical setting, present day, or future setting?
Present day.
All righty. Well, it has been absolutely my pleasure getting to know you. You have been just lovely to talk to chat to. And I know that those that have logged in tonight have gotten so much good information.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And yeah.
And I would love to have you on again so we can look for dates after your book is published. So maybe in October, and we can do it as part of your promotion.
Yeah, sure. We'll find another date. Yeah.
Well, good luck in writing your 5K words in a few days and then sending that off to your beta team.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. And I'll connect with you on the DMs like we always do.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.